Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Rachak Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that tells his truth, and much respect to the Yakim out there laboring in his work, and peace and salutation to the hopefully elect that are scattered across the four corners of the earth. To you I say, Shalom. So more bad news for America, right? Which means more bad news for you Israelites who put your stock within America. All right, the 2/3 of you so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans who within your spirit, truly sincerely want America to bounce back. All right, in which that's not going to happen. Okay, the decree of Yahweh Bashmel Shah has gone out, and his words are not going to come back void, as he has spoken through the mouth of his prophets. You see? And so now we're in a time in which the things that were spoken that you probably couldn't see before are now all of a sudden manifesting themselves, as you get in the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. The vision was yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though he tarry, wait for it, because it shall surely come. So now we're in a time in which these things have manifested themselves so much to where you got economists, you got reporters who are reporting on the things that we have been speaking about in the scriptures. You see? So America is going out in a sad way, good riddance. And this is just the beginning of sorrows, as our Lord Yahweh Shah says. So right here, you got CryptoGazette.com. It says U.S. to suffer devastating hyperinflation, war, starvation, says Robert Kiyosaki. Okay? So this man is prophesying unto you evil. All right, he's not prophesying according to the spirit of Yahweh Bashmal Shab, but he's looking at what's going on in the earth because they understand the economy and they see the evils that are coming, the things that we speak about through the scriptures. So the U.S. is going to suffer devastating. What's the word devastating mean? Let's get that. Highly destructive or damaging. Second definition, causing severe shock, distress, or grief. Severe shock, distress, or grief, because it's gonna happen suddenly, man. As the scriptures say, the news came as a devastating blow. Yeah, that's suddenly, shattering, shocking. See, traumatic, overwhelming. It's gonna get bad. Devastating, hyperinflation. Okay, yeah, food is gonna be out the roof, man. When you read in Revelation 6th chapter, it speaks about a wheat of barley for a penny. And that penny represents a day's wages. So at some point, the food is going to be so high that you're not going to be able to buy enough to sustain yourself or your family, and it's going to be rationed out to you. It's going to create what? Chaos. What? Leading to war and starvation. See that? So these are nothing but evils. The same thing that we be prophesying about. All right, nothing but evils. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and get that real quick just to start it off, and we'll get back into the article. All right, because the Lord is doing work in the earth, and no one really sees what's going on except for the ones whom he has allowed to see it, which are the prophets and the believers. Jeremiah 28:8, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of peasants. You see that? So this is why we out proclaim these things out of the scriptures. This is what's coming straight out the scriptures, man. And that being manifested. So it says the future doesn't look too bright for the Americans. Yeah, you Babylonians, according to the latest reports. Check out the new statements made by Robert Kiyosaki below. And so he says, what the title reads, new reports about America are out. According to Kiyosaki, BRICS, which is made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, pose a major threat to the stability of American society. This is reportedly happening at the alliance of nations could trigger hyperinflation by sending their massive dollar reserves back to the United States. All right. And this is that wound that Yahweh Bashmel Shah is laying for America, as he is causing these nations to pretty much forsake the U.S. dollar. all right, was going to lead to what? A wound being laid for America, okay, as these nations, were pretty much bound by the U.S. dollar, all right. The U.S. dollar was a world reserve, but now they're starting to develop their own currency, which is ultimately going to weaken the dollar, creating what? Hyperinflation. You see? So it says BRICS is reportedly in the early stages of developing a precious metal peg currency that does not utilize U.S. dollar. All right. So Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. South Africa, right? Yeah. Okay. Have pretty much set up their own thing. And also they have 19 other nations that are looking to join with them, man. So just imagine the catastrophic effect it's going to have on the U.S. dollar. All right. So the scriptures are literally playing out right before your eyes. When you go to the book of Obadiah, first chapter, it says Edom will be humble. All right. And of course, Esau's capital is right here in America. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashmal Shai concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Okay. So these heathens are going to rise up against America, the capital of Edom, okay, Babylon the Great, in battle. It says, behold, I, Yahweh Shemashai, have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. No one likes America, bro. These nations are really hating America. So when you skip down to verse 7, it says, all the men, matter of fact, verse 6, how are the things of Esau searched out, and how his hidden things sought up? Okay, he's been revealed by the scriptures. And ultimately, the Lord is lifting up the skirt of America and showing the nations America's shame. Okay, as they go about, establishing themselves in these other nations, putting sanctions on Russia, different countries, just because they have the buying power of the U.S. dollar. Okay, they're known as the hammer of the earth, and these nations are tired of it. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. You see that? So the nations that were at peace with America have deceived America because inwardly they hate this whore and prevailed against thee. All right. That's going to be a result. They're going to prevail against America. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. All right. So they that eat thy bread, the bread is talking about the U.S. dollar, have laid a wound under thee. How? All right. Well, because they separate from the dollar. That's going to weaken it. There is none understanding in him. So these devils, as they work mischief throughout the earth using America, don't understand that these nations are pretty much setting them up for destruction. So verse 8 says, shall I not in that day, said the Lord Yahweh Bashimashai, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and the understanding out of the mount of Esau? All right, the mount of Esau is the high place, which is America. You see that? So these America has no understanding. They don't understand that they're being snared. Whew. So let's go back into this article. It says, Triflin's dilemma meant that the U.S. had to supply dollars to every central bank throughout the world. So we had to print probably quadrillions of dollars. And what happens is when the playground bully, the U.S., right, the hammer of the earth, and the BRICS nations gang up against the bully, they say, take your dollars back. And when the dollars come roaring back into America, we have a thing called hyperinflation, right? And every time there's hyperinflation, guess what? Dictators rise, okay? So that's what's going to happen. As these nations separate, you're going to see hyperinflation. And the scripture speaks about that, all right? It speaks about this current stage right now in which everything is cheap. But when that inflation hits, then that's going to create chaos. Let's get Second Esdras, Second Esdras 16 and verse 21 is it, and this is in the GNT. It says, the time is coming when food will be so cheap that people would think a time of peace and plenty has arrived. And that's the state of these people now, all right? When they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction shall fall upon them, and they shall not escape. As you get in the 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. Okay? And so it says, but then disasters will spring up everywhere. That's it. All right? Sudden destruction, plagues. It says wars, famine, and great confusion. They're not going to know what to do, man, at that time. So many people on earth will starve to death, and those who escape starvation will be killed in war. You see that? Their corpses will be thrown out like garbage, and there will be no one left to comfort the living or bury the dead. The earth will be deserted and the cities demolished. So that's what's coming to Babylon the Great, man. All right, and this is the decree from Yahweh Shemel Shai. All right, Revelation 18 and verse 7, it says, matter of fact, verse 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, as America has rewarded us, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she had filled, fill to her double. How much she had glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. That's what we see being prepared. For she saith in her heart, I see a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Yeah, and that's the mindset of these Babylonians. They dwell carelessly, not really foreseeing the dangers. They think that their houses are going to continue forever. All right, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine. Okay, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord power who judgeth her. You see that? So the destiny of America, Babylon the Great, is to be completely annihilated by fire. And he's going to use the other nations to do that. Revelation 17 and verse 16 says, and the 10 horns, or the 10 EU nations, which thou sawest upon the beast, all right, the EU and NATO, these shall hate the whore, all right? They're starting to hate the whore, Babylon the Great, America, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. See that? And why are they going to do that? Verse 17, for Yahweh Shemel Shai had put it in their hearts to fulfill his will. See, this is the decree of Yahweh Shemel Shai. That's why we out telling you these things at the scriptures. You see? For the Most High had put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh Shemel Shai be fulfilled. So that's why you see the EU and the NATO alliance, all right? But eventually, they're going to separate, as you see now, okay? And they're going to form an alliance against America to ultimately destroy this place. So it says, and the woman without swords is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. You see that? So this is a biblical prophecy playing out right before your eyes. All right? And if you're still playing around as if these things are not going to come true, then the Lord's going to destroy you with America. All right? Due to the famine, the plagues, the pests, the hey, man, that starvation is going to be something heavy. It's going to be heavy, man. But anyway, I just want to bring it out real quick. Let's get this word starvation. Suffering or death caused by hunger. Right. It's going to be a lot of that. So with that, hey, Lord willing, you're edified. Till next time I say, Shalom, DTA, and Bible Ball soon.